Hey everybody, welcome to the Tabletop Spotlight. I'm Adam.
I'm Matt.
We're here to talk about some cool tabletop news happening right now and show you some other really cool products you can pick up this very weekend.
There's some specific big news that is worth highlighting specifically for this specific situation.
That's a lot of specificity.
I don't know why I thought that would be a funny bit. It wasn't.
No, but we are going to take a moment and we are going to address the 800-pound gorilla in the tabletop gaming space right now, known as the OGL, or the Open Gaming License.
Right,
now,
the 1.1.
1.1 specifically.
Is the issue here. And as far as I understand it, and we'll get a little more because
we have to caveat real quick, this is not legal advice. This is going to be a very high level. We're not going to get into the weeds here, but not legal advice. Go ahead.
So basically, Wizards had their original 1.0 OGL.
That's Open Gaming License.
Right, which was just, hey, the world, here's the basics of 5th edition D&D. Have fun, go crazy, it's yours. Don't even worry about it. You won't ever have to pay for this. It's our gift to you. Enjoy. Then...
Even before that, it was like the 3.5.
Yeah, there was the 3.5 one. And then, like a week ago at this point-ish? Recently, there was...
week and a half at this point. Yeah, depends on when you watch
right,
the video
depending,
too.
I guess. There was a leak of a early draft or something... that basically said, hey, we're going to update the OGL. And basically, if you want to use any D&D products from here on out, you have to start paying us if you make over a certain amount of money.
So, again, it's not if you want to use D&D products, if you want to create D&D products.
Right, yes. Right.
So, you're already paying them money by buying their products.
Right, but if you want to be like a Critical Role or like that kind of thing and use D&D products, they get a cut now.
Right, or if you want to create your own content and you make over a certain amount of money, I think it's $100,000 a year or something like that.
It's something like that.
You have to split the profits with them or split the money with them.
And it's a big chunk,
It's like 25%.
Yeah, 25%.
So again, not legal advice. That's kind of what's going on. They're trying... Wizards of the Coast is essentially trying to update their Open Gaming License to a 1.1 version.
And even more so, if you sign the new one, you can't use the old one anymore.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the biggest legal,
There's a whole lot of legal speculation and theory, and there's some pretty concrete stuff. Like, you don't even need to be a lawyer to understand, that doesn't seem like it would work like that. Yeah. But again, we're not lawyers. But we have talked to some lawyers and gotten some feedback from them on things.
Yeah.
And like Matt said, there's some gray area there. There's the whole, if you agree to this agreement, then you can't use the old one. There's the question of can I just keep using the old one? What happens to if I had previous products that use the old one but want to update to the new one? Do I have to then pay you for the old ones? So there's a lot of questions and stuff that is probably going to go to the court eventually if this document, which like Matt said, allegedly leaked and was a early draft or whatever, probably finalized. I don't know. We don't know.
Right.
But it came out online and the internet exploded. So that's the high level overview is fans are angry. Other creators are angry. Wizards of the Coast, this seems like a cash grab, essentially.
Yeah, well,
it seems like a way to fight their competition.
They had a news report, press report, internal memo or something where they believed that they were under monetized.
So that came out during a call, what you call it, investor call thing where they're like, we need to monetize D&D more. I mean, we've seen the direction that the corporate side of the house for Wizards of the Coast is going with not only D&D but also Magic, where they're just trying to make more money because they're a business and that's what businesses do. It's
getting really bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
No,
This doesn't look good. The fan community's mad. The creator community's mad. I'm sure the game designers at Wizards are probably not happy either because this thing that they've been working on for a while is now getting... People are focusing on this legal stuff instead of hey, we have this new thing coming out. Anyway.
And there was
It doesn't look good.
that JR posted that apparently this is all, I am an employee of WotC, and here's what I have to say. It was that kind of email saying that the corporate, managers or whatever, it seems like they view their customers as like a monetary hurdle to be overcome. Which is just a bad take in a lot of ways.
And it's not. I don't know. This doesn't look good.
No.
Wizards. This doesn't look good if you're paying attention. But like, I'm sure
they're watching this show for sure.
Oh, for sure. They're probably watching everything.
Yeah.
But Anyway, that's the high level thing that's happening. But we wanted to talk about today to maybe bring a little bit of positivity to other stuff and focus that anger of the internet on something else. We just figured, hey, not to be angry, but like, hey, well, if this all goes bad, it's clearly going bad.
Even if it doesn't.
Even if it doesn't, good point. There are a lot of other RPG systems out there, and we just wanted to talk about a couple that we do enjoy and think maybe give it a try. Yeah.
So,
Matt,
I want to start off with my favorite for how absolutely bonkers it is. It's called Dread.
Yes.
You might have seen it around. It definitely pops up in game stores.
Yes.
The rule book itself is, just like a pretty standard small book because the rules are all pretty simple. And if you've seen anything about it, you'll remember that it's the one with the Jenga tower.
Bingo.
It's basically every time that... And the stories are usually built in a way, very like kind of thriller, horror usually. There's like some tension. There's some dread. Because every time any player would have to roll for anything, they instead pull a Jenga block.
Yep.
And that's it. If you succeed on the Jenga, then you have succeeded on your task. But then obviously as you keep going, things get worse and worse. And, the dread starts building up. And then eventually when the tower falls, whoever was trying to... fails in their task spectacularly. It's not meant to be like, oh, you missed with this attack. Like, that's not the stories you're telling with Dread. The one...
There's not really... It's not designed as like a combat system, is what you're saying?
No, it is highly narrative.
Yeah, it's super narrative. This isn't like a... I'm gonna fight the monster and I'm gonna pull a Jenga block to see if I hit it. No. Pull the Jenga block to see if you died from the monster or not, type of a thing.
Like, I don't remember if this
I'm going to hide from the monster.
Right. It's usually very high level, like, how does this scene turn out? And then you play it out in some way, or maybe vice versa. But, like, the I don't know if it was a fan one or official, I don't remember, but it's like, this might have even been on that Will Wheaton show. I don't know, not important. Yeah. But...
There was a Dread RPG that Geek and Thunder was doing for a bit. I watched a couple episodes. It's really really narrative heavy. The Jenga, because it's Jenga, like at some point you just can't pull any blocks. No matter how good you are, the thing's just not going to stay up. And
you can finish a Jenga tower. I have done it before.
Sure.
If you do it correctly, it can be done.
Sure, but at some point somebody's got to pull a block, and it's going to go bad. Or you can throw yourself on the sacrificial blade too, and there's the option if you knock the tower over on purpose,
right?
Which also has negative consequences, but it's a way to
resets the tower and all that.
There was some serious dramatic, like, I'll kill myself, no,
right?
And like, to save their friends, and they were like, no, and like. There's a lot of drama in that Dread system is really good.
It is very aptly named, and it's for how different it is. Like, there's no dice. I mean, like, maybe you could throw in some dice, like, if you wanted to, but like the core rules, it's just the tower and like how to interact with it. And I think it's just so creative, so clever.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for the cleanup, I think it would be a little more popular.
It's always...
So anyway, what do you like? What's one of yours that you want to highlight?
We're just going to go back and forth because like I feel like there's multiple ones that I want to talk about. But
I
want to jump in the first one.
I'll give one more and then you'll have two.
Okay, that sounds fair. Though we totally planned this beforehand. The one that I want to talk about first is Savage Worlds.
Okay.
Savage Worlds is a very simple system. It can be used in literally any setting. So I have one for the Old West with Deadlands. I've played fantasy versions of it. I've
Deadly
played like
that's where I've heard.
secret agents using it. Like we were like, government agents using it. We've done.
Do you have it?
I have it. It's not a very big rule book, but it's the core of the rule system is super easy. You have a set of polyhedral dice. When you build your character, you get to assign various dice to different skills or different abilities or whatever, and then you just do a check. Like you have to hit a DC to succeed, but you roll those dice, and if you get the highest number on the dice, you get to roll it again and add together. So like if I roll a D4 and I get a 4, I can roll another D4 and stuff like that. So it's a very simple check system.
It's interesting because that makes D4s really good.
It makes them interesting to use because you're going to get to roll them again, but the top end is only a 4.
Right, yeah.
So
you're going to have to roll like 4 times to even get to where a D20 could get.
Sure. But that's where some of those, theoretically, but you might roll a 2 on a D20 or...
Right. Yeah,
or you might roll a 20 on a 20 and roll it again, but there's also variations where if you roll the top number, you get to add just a D6 to the roll. Okay. So it kind of evens some things out. Because you're right, some of the smaller dice have a higher chance to roll the big number... I'm getting in the weeds here.
Right.
Anyway,
it's small incremental steps versus D20s have like these potential, like huge potential.
But then when you level up, those you can increase the die value for those skills too. So it's a cool system. It's different. For me, it throws the math off on a lot of things that if you played 5th edition, you're just like, okay, yeah, this is a DC 10 check. I have a +5, whatever. That's an easy roll. But then when you're like, okay, it's a DC 10 check, but I only have a D6 in that skill. But I could get, a bonus from this thing, and then if I roll them, and it just kind of changes the game.
It means that there's always a chance.
There's always a chance that you can succeed. And it's, again, like I said, I played in modern settings. I've played Old West settings, fantasy settings. The core rules are very lenient. There's some built-in classes, but you can create your own and stuff like that. So the Savage World system... very, very, very easy to jump into and understand. Like, everything is just based off of. Typically, the better you are at a skill, the bigger the die roll is.
Sure.
And that's really all you need to know. So check that one out. There's also a really neat Benny system, like benefits. So you get like chips or whatever. We use poker chips when we played. If you want to like do a reroll or something, you can spend a Benny. It's kind of a neat variation on things. But I think Savage Worlds as an alternative is another really cool system. And there's a lot of different games out there that use it as a source material.
Yeah, no, we've definitely looked at like some of the RPG books that we've looked at on the show have used this system before. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
Speaking of other systems, Matt, what's your second one?
So I'm going to tangent myself real quick because my 2 picks are inherently very simple and narrative driven. And I think it's funny that those are the 2 that I'm choosing to highlight because I did actually design my own RPG system.
You did.
Which I work on maybe once a year. But it's very mechanics heavy. There's a lot of keywords and there's a lot of ability. Like it's meant to be kind of this web of like, all right, I use this ability, which triggers that, which triggers that, it's like, it's that kind of, I was trying to elicit that vibe. And it's complicated. I'm not gonna lie, but that was by design because I
want to play it. You've talked about it. You have to bring me a PDF.
I have it all on my Google Drive. It's like playing a blue Magic deck. It has that vibe, and
That's what I'm talking about.
I like blue decks, so it's a lot of that. But anyway,
okay.
So, the one I want to talk about is one that's called Laser Feelings or Lasers and Feelings. I don't remember, but. And you only have one stat. Every player has a single stat, and it goes from 2 to 5. And your single stat represents, and then, for example, and I might be getting some of the details wrong, but the general gist is the same. So 1 is lasers, and 6 is feelings. So your stat goes from 2 to 5, and that determines how much lasers you have or how much feelings you have. So if you're a 5, you have a lot of lasers, but not many feelings because you have like so many more because basically the gist is so
one is feelings.
One is lasers. I mean let's say I don't remember which way it goes, but so 1 is lasers. So let's say my stat is 5. So if I roll a 3 and then every everything is either lasers or feelings. Everything in the game is lasers or feelings. So I want to shoot that guy. Well, that's lasers. So my stat is a 5, so I'm good at that. Because if I roll between 1 and my stat...
It's a success.
For
lasers.
Right, 4 lasers. But then I'm bad at feelings, because I have to roll a 5 or a 6. Or I think it's just a 6, but if you roll your number exactly, that's laser feelings. And then you get to, like, ask the GM a single question they have to answer truthfully. Something like that. Some weird... Clearly, it's a very...
Will you be my friend?
Clearly, it's a very tongue-in-cheek, simple, fun narrative system. But I first heard about it on the Adventure Zone. They played it. And then even derived it. If you are looking for a really fun D&D podcast, they did one with Brendan Lee Mulligan called Dadlands.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
I love it. They just recently did another one like a week ago that I think just hit today or yesterday or whatever. I'm pretending that today is when you're watching this, but it's not, because that's
not how time works.
Right, that's not the magic of video editing. But anyway, so Laser Feelings is really fun. It's like, especially I think it would be really good for like teaching kids just the idea, like even like 7-year-olds, just like the idea of like rolling and checks, and you know, it's a really, you could explain the entire rules on like an index card, and I think that there's an appeal to that for sure.
Yeah.
But so what about you? Last one.
Before I get to that one, I want to run through a bunch of ones. I'm going to try to list a bunch that I remember off the top of my head that you should check out. There's Age of the Apocalypse.
Powered by the Apocalypse. Which we'll talk about later.
There's the Edge system. There's the World of Darkness system. There's the Genesis system from
2D20.
2D20. Freaking Pathfinder. Like,
yeah, that counts.
Monty Cook's Cypher system. Gosh, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting any. There's so many out there, is my point.
There is... Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
That's another one. But yeah, like, so D&D...
Tales from the Loop has freaking system.
The D&D is in kind of like a weird spot right now. And if you're not necessarily wanting to support the direction they're going, let them know and try another system.
Yeah.
A lot of people get really set on, like... I don't want to start over. I don't want to make a whole new... I don't want to have to learn a whole new thing.
They're not that hard.
I mean, based on the 2 that I pitched, like, clearly there are RPG systems for all manner of gamers.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say something controversial. I don't think D&D is the best one. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It is...
The stats disagree with you, but no, I get no.
But because I like narrative play, and D&D has a lot of rules for a very narrative game.
Yeah.
But it's also restricted because it has so many rules.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I could. All right, a discussion for another day.
Yeah. My final pick.
Oh right.
I can't decide if I want to do Cyberpunk or Shadowrun, to be perfectly honest.
Let's do Shadowrun, because I know about Cyberpunk.
There you go. Cool, yeah. So Shadowrun, I'm going to go with that one. Since Matt...
It's a card game? Or is it also a card game?
It's a D6.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Shadowrun is a simple success system. It's D6s, so 5 or 6 is a success. Mm-hmm. Anything else is a failure. You build a pool of dice for your check. So usually, like, I want to shoot a dude. Everybody. I want to hit something. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot something. It's just like your dex or your agility or whatever that stat is, plus like your firearm stat or whatever, and you just roll. That creates a pool of dice, and you roll and see how many successes you get. And if you just compare with the target number or the there's various things, like in this case it's like target number to hit something or whatever. Did you do enough to actually get through the armor, whatever, right. It's super simple
mechanic has been used in a lot of different games at this point.
Roll a pile of dice.
Right.
Sorry, not a pile. Well, sometimes it's a pile. Sure. Roll a pool of dice to determine how many successes you get, and did you get enough or not enough successes. It's a very simple system. It can be very combat heavy if you want it to be, because it's Shadowrun. The thing about Shadowrun to a degree is the complexity comes in the fact that you are dealing with basically the game on 3 levels, where you have kind of magic, you've got the real world, and then you've got like the cyber world stuff happening, and it's Shadowrun, right? So it's magic and technology all combined, and depending on which edition you're playing too, like sometimes those cyber levels, that augmented reality can be 10 turns for every one turn. So like you end up playing an entire mini game of stuff in
that's
the
fun.
cyber realm while somebody's trying to summon like an earth elemental or something.
Right. No, that's I don't know anything about Shadowrun.
Shadowrun
so sounds
is
exciting.
Yeah,
I thought it was a card game.
It is too, but like there's an RPG system. It's a really cool system. That's why I was mentioning should I just do Cyberpunk, but both of those cool. Great if you want to get your cyberwares fix. There's obviously a lot more to those systems that all of the systems we've talked about. There's way more to get into with
the
them,
Fate system is also really
Fate's really good.
Fate is great. I like that because it's like on a range of like +2 to -2. Yeah. Like it's very easy math, and that's great.
There's so many other systems out there, and obviously D&D's the big dog in the room right now, but like. 20 years ago, when 4th edition came out, they pulled the same kind of thing with their OGL, and we saw what happened with those results. So I don't know. I guess whoever the corporate overlords are over there making these decisions just aren't paying attention to history.
20 years?
20, 30 years ago. When 4th edition came out.
Was that 20 years ago?
Almost. They're about 20 years ago. Yeah, we're old. It was like 2000 something. Early aughts.
I hate that.
Yeah, I hate time too. But that's speaking of time.
What the fuck? Yeah, speaking of time, we're running out.
Yeah, I think we're good there. That's go check out those other RPG systems if you know any or want to check out any recommendations. Drop some in the comments.
Yeah, 100%.
We'd love to check out other RPG systems. That's what we do.
We do read the comments. I read every comment.
Yeah, he literally.
I do.
Reads every. I can't. You guys are crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, let's get into because I especially want to continue our conversation about RPGs, but
right after
these messages. Da da da.
We don't have messages.
No, I'll put ads there.
Do.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're back. Big shout out to our friends at Dragon's Air Comics Fancy here in Austin, Texas. They have the ones that have hooked us up with the products we're about to show off, and you can pick it up these products from them this very weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
I'm very excited.
You are very excited. What is this game?
This is Avatar Legends, the role-playing game source book
version 1.0.
Yeah, it doesn't have a subtitle, but this is the Avatar core book.
Yeah,
they kickstarted this almost 2 years ago at this point and made like I think $30 trillion, something like that, give or take. But it's
I don't know if it was $30 trillion.
All right, quadrillion. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
But no, it made a lot of money. It was very successful. Mm-hmm. I have mine in the mail right now. I got the fancy one with a lot of the dice and the scrolls, and I don't know what I'm getting. It's gonna be a big box. Actually,
are you gonna bring it in? Maybe
I will do an unboxing if I remember. But basically, so this is RPG in the Avatar universe, and you can play it on any age of the Avatar world.
Is this the one with the blue people in the water?
There is water. There's, in fact, quite a bit of water in this world. But you can watch if I remember, you can watch JR's video right here in the corner of, we did a whole breakdown of how to play. We did 2 separate videos on just how the game works. So I won't get into too many of the details, but basically... the rules are inherently vague. Like, there is no bending move that you learn. It's not, air scooter is not like a move you learn. You just, all right, that was a bad example. But they're much more vague about just like, all right, what are you trying to accomplish here? Like, it is, like we were saying, very narrative driven. They don't really get bogged down with the, like, how do you accomplish this? And like, all right, where you move it? It's like, all right, I want to do this thing. I succeeded on it. And then the GM says, all right, what did you do to make that happen?
Okay.
And it really leans into that. And then there's a lot of, because it uses a lot of back and forth and balance, because obviously balance is a big deal within the world itself.
Yeah.
So
what's the core mechanic? Like, if you could give us like a 30-second summary of like how, like, is it dice? Is it D20?
Oh yeah. It is all
cards.
It is all powered by the apocalypse.
Bingo.
It is 2D20 system. Wait, 2D20? 2D6. 2D6. It's 2D6, and it's like with any games using that system, a 7 to less than a 6 is failure, 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and then 10 plus is a complete success. And again, it doesn't worry too much about the like, oh, you're gonna get -2 to this run. There are those kind of modifiers, but it's really broad. The rules aren't set in any one particular era. You can play at in the age of Kyoshi or Roku or Kuruk or Yang Chen or I think that's all. Well, and then like Aang and Korra, and then whoever the new Avatar is that is coming out next year or something.
Yeah.
But yes, clearly I really like the Avatar universe.
The James Cameron.
You could do that if you wanted. I can't stop you. I would like to, but I can't.
Different Avatar. Gotcha. That is Avatar Legends.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Check it out. You can probably still get the quick start guide online to just get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But
very cool.
It's good.
I hear it's popular.
It is very good. If you haven't seen Avatar, Last Airbender, or Legend of Korra, do that.
Speaking of popular and good, I don't know if that's a good
Yeah.
Boom! We have the Marvel Crisis Protocol new packs coming out this weekend, when we're watching it this week. Anyway, there's the new Web Warriors affiliation pack, which includes Peter Parker Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy Spider-Man?
Spider-Woman?
Spider-Woman?
Spider-Girl? I don't know.
I don't know. Gwen Stacy.
Spider-Gwen.
She is Spider-Gwen.
I don't know if that's like the official name, but that's what I've always referred.
That's what I'd call it. That's why I was like, wait.
I don't know how official that name is.
I was gonna make a gag about her also being Spider-Man, but no, it's called her Spider-Gwen. Anyway, and Venom, obviously. Eddie Brock Venom is also in there.
You keep going. I'm gonna see.
So it's the Web Warriors affiliation pack. If you
Ghost Spider.
Oh right,
Ghost Spider.
Spider-Gwen's just cooler.
Yeah,
well,
I think that's why.
But that gives away your identity. So Ghost Spider. Okay. Anyway,
forgot about that. It's like, no, she has a real name.
She does.
Anyway.
Yes. So
also Rhino.
Yeah, and also Rhino is out. Obviously, Rhino is actually really cool. He's on a big base like Venom. They're both big models, so it's very cool.
I had never even heard of Rhino until I never watched the Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If it didn't have anvils falling on people's heads, I don't watch it.
Yeah, that's only like a sliver of cartoons.
That's true.
Yeah.
Does it explain anything about how I am as a person?
A little bit. No. But yeah, the Web Warriors affiliation pack, and yes, Venom is a Web Warrior affiliation. You can mix and match stuff.
Venom's not. He's an anti-hero.
Yeah. I mean, he fits in a lot of other affiliations. Is how the game system works anyway. But also, of course, like we mentioned, Rhino is out this weekend too. Both of these packs are out. These affiliation packs I'm really happy with, because if you missed the heroes or want to get into the game now, maybe finding just a single hero, like Spidey was in the core set. So if you didn't get a core set for whatever reason, but you really want to start playing, the affiliation packs are a great way to jump in and get going. I know like the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants just came out not too long ago. That was a really
we talked about those.
And then even before that, the Asgardian affiliation pack came out with like Thor and a bunch of other stuff. But these are out this weekend. I actually really want to do to get Rhino on the board. I just think like his backstory is interesting, because he's like he basically was a mobster that volunteered for like not super soldiers,
an experimental bioweapon procedure.
Yeah, and they grafted this rhino skin suit to him.
What the heck?
Yeah.
All
and
right.
It gave him like superpowers, and now he's a supervillain. And
you can just do that, I guess.
We have Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it's comics, right?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I want to build it and get the model on the tabletop, and he's got some interesting abilities too, where he can just obviously charge like a rhino and stuff like that. So there's, it's fun. It looks cool.
Cool.
So I also wonder how he goes to the bathroom, but that's just a whole other...
Is he locked in the suit? Is
Yep.
it like a Master Chief thing?
Yep, don't think about it too hard. But yeah, they're out this weekend. You can pick them up from Dragon's Lair or your favorite local gaming store. Marvel Crisis Protocol. Go check it out. It's fun. Fun stuff. What do you got next?
I do not have any segue for Pan's Island. So Pan's Island is like a deduction game.
Yep.
It is a cooperative game where the players are working together to find the lost boys who got lost.
Yeah.
And the general idea is that every player is given a clue card as to where one of the lost boys are and a pirate card, and they have to use this scale of reasoning. What's the word they use? There's basically
it's like 1 to 7.
There's a scale they use, and you have to put the clue card on the scale depending on like how much the clue is, because the scale goes from like absolutely not to nailed it. It's something like that. And basically
a little ambiguous.
Right, by design.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that you are taking your clue card and then putting it somewhere on that track to denote how true your clue is to where one of the lost boys are. So if you had had one in a lake or whatever, and then you put like dry as a desert, and then you would put it at like not at all, to like try to, it's got this like cool kind of, puzzle solving element.
Yeah. There's a bit of deduction, or a lot of deduction with this game, and it's like Matt says, you can't just come out and say, "Yep."
Right. You're meant to sort of hint and allude, and there's also a bit of like a legacy element. Like the island is always changing. Every time you win or lose, you are meant to modify the island in some way, which will make it harder or easier. Because this is like ages 10 plus.
Ages 10 up, 2 to 5 players. Games are about 45 minutes.
So it's meant to be kid friendly, and even designed in a way to make it easier if your kid's struggling a little bit, or if your adults are struggling a little bit.
What's really cool too about this is it comes with some like erasable,
dry erase markers.
Markers that you can draw. You're supposed to draw on the island, kind of like a map. You're supposed to draw on the map, and you can leave like X's for your clues and draw lines and stuff.
Right, because there's also pirate cards, and if you draw 2 pirate cards, you lose. So getting to mark off where you think someone else's pirate is like part of the fun.
Yeah.
But it's really I like games that take a weird idea and run with it, and Pan's Island has definitely done that.
Yeah.
And it's just, Peter Pan's a fun IP.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's getting some attention. That is Pan's Island.
Speaking of islands, no, this has nothing to do with an island. This is, I don't know, butchered Atiwa? I don't know.
I would go Atiwa.
Atiwa? I'm sorry. I don't know.
The
Atiwa range is based in a real life place. It's in Ghana. And it's the background of this game, or the setting of this game, is that there is a village in Ghana. It consisted of like steep hillsides and very flat summits. And in one of these villages, the mayor has been keeping a colony of fruit bats. And the reason that the mayor's been keeping the colony of fruit bats is he realized that fruit bats stay there all day, and then during the evening they fly off to go get food. But they can fly for miles away, and then on the way back, their droppings help spread the seeds. So they have a neat little factoid here. A single colony of 150,000 fruit bats can reforest an area up to 2,000 acres a year.
Thanks, bats.
So, yeah, bat guano. It's not just a fun reference from Ace Ventura 2.
That's exactly what I was thinking this whole time.
Guano. Yeah. But yeah, the fruit bats do help to spread seeds. This is like an actual thing. So the game is a worker placement game where you're trying to...
A bat placement game.
Well, it's workers and bats.
Okay.
So you're trying to place your workers to grow your village, but you also have to do it in a responsible way that is going to allow you to help manage the resources that you're collecting and gathering so that you can build a sustainable village and help the bats reforest areas. because you need lumber for your village to grow, but you need trees, but trees come from the bats dropping and stuff. So you have to like. It's kind of a neat. It's a very neat idea of like trying to teach people to balance resource gathering and worker placement with the ecological ramifications, which is not something we see a lot in worker placement games. It's usually like strip mine the crap out of the area and move on. But no, this one actually does take into account the ecology of the bats and stuff.
That's great.
So, I read the description and was reading up on this game. I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's a very different spin on, like I said, just the typical worker placement. I need all the rocks and ore.
Right.
So
at most you'll sometimes get like if you mined the mountain this turn, you can't mine it next turn.
Yeah.
But like actually having to think about how these things. I mean, I guess mountains are different than trees and bats, but you get the idea.
Yeah, and like again, I know bats are scary. Like bats.
No, bats are great. I love bats. They're adorable.
They can be scary to me anyway. But
sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat twist on the whole like living in harmony. It sounds a little tree huggy because it kind of is, but it's also I think a cool lesson to learn, and it looks like a really cool worker placement. Resource management game.
Another game that like kind of took a weird idea and really expanded on it. And we're seeing a lot more of that lately, and I love that.
Yeah. So go check this one out. It's 1 to 4 players. Games are about 30 minutes per player-ish.
Okay.
You'll probably go faster when you get the hang of it. And it's ages 12 and up. So it does say advanced level, but I don't think it's...
I mean, more so than some other games I've seen for sure.
Sure. But yeah, ages 12 and up. I think it's really cool looking. So go check this one out. And again, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Atiwa.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, looks cool. Go check it out.
All right. Last, I have the Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King Big Box.
It's a lot.
This is the Isle of Skye is a game that was released in 2016, I think, and won the Kinderspiel des Jahres. I'm also not German, but I'm trying my best. The game of the year, where it's if you're into board gaming, it is a big deal that it won that award. This comes with the base game, Isle of Skye, but then also the Druids expansion, Tunnels module, the Borderlands module, which is brand new as of the big box, and some bonus scoring tiles.
Yeah.
It's a
tile-based game, right?
Right, yeah. It's a tile-based game where it's very Euro. You're trying to get all the victory points that you can, and there's like a bidding and trading where I have a certain resource, and then, I offer it up for 10 gold or whatever.
What? 10
and
gold?
Then all the other players go and be like, oh, that's too much. But then, it's like blind bidding because you don't know necessarily what I'm putting up, but, it's that kind of economic system. But then on top of that, there's all of there are 25-ish victory card conditions, but you only pick 4 of them for each game. So every game is going to be potentially drastically, I don't know math well enough to do it in my head, but there are a lot of different ways, and each different combination of victory cards is going to give you an entirely different strategy that you have to employ on top of...
A lot of replay value, basically.
Yeah, like, because you'll know what you're getting into when it starts, but you won't be able to just do the same strategy every game and expect it to work. On top of the fun kind of blind bidding mechanic I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
So that's Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King Big Box.
Yeah. It's been out for a while, like Matt was saying, and like we always say, if a game gets like a second edition or like reprints and stuff like that, it's usually a good sign.
And they're both from Lookout. Look at that.
They are both from Lookout.
Lookout Games made both of these, so they're doing good.
I think it was Asmodee kind of published all. But anyway, they're good stuff.
I mean, Asmodee does that.
But that's actually it this week. Quite a few really cool things, neat releases. Avatar is going to be. Yeah.
I'm very excited. I've been checking my mailbox every day.
Yeah, me too. Wait, what?
But yeah, that's all for this week. A lot of very exciting, cool new board games.
Weird.
Again, thanks to Dragon's Lair for hooking us up. I never do the outro. I thought I would give it a shot, and you do it.
Oh yeah, sure.
I tried.
You were doing good. I was going to let you roll.
I lost it. I don't have the... you go.
I just say it all the time. It's just, big thanks to Dragon's Lair for hooking us up with the products we're showing off here. And again, you can go support them if you're here in Austin, Texas, or at your favorite local gaming store. That's where they have the board games and other fun stuff and other fun tabletop stuff. Anyway, I'm Adam.
And I'm Matt.
We're from Bowls. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I was going to do the bye.
Oh, yeah, sure. That would have been fun.